Welcome to the first ever horror movie review on this channel. I hope you enjoy it and find the information helpful enough to want to watch the film. Today's selection is entitled Deep in the Darkness. Well, legends never go away was the best line in this movie. It encompasses not only a warning to the protagonist, but was also the theme of the movie. A doctor moves his family away from the big city to a small town to live in an idyllic farmhouse with a creepy forest set as the backdrop. Town is very family orientated, unless you want to leave. But why would you want to leave this town? It has everything. No cable, a curfew, and fucked up woods. What more could you ask for? I loved when the mood changed because of the biggest bit of symbolism that changed was the house itself. This movie was colored in with a few horror film cliches like one rode into the town had a curfew, and no one was allowed to leave. Not gonna give too much away here, but I love how they followed the cliche of creepy kid being really creepy. Because this movie was rather long, a runtime of 100 minutes, it had the ability to explain all of the motives without having to pause or make those explanations boring. I never had any questions at the end of the movie. I was really impressed by this, and it was one of the major factors that swung this movie towards the positive for me. This movie wasn't filled with jump scares, although there were a few. They all seemed to fit the pace of the movie, except for one that I was really not impressed with. If you watch the movie, I think you'll be able to see it because it stands out. The limited amount of special effects in this movie were well placed, well executed, and looked so professional, it made the immersion even better. With all this praise about the immersion, I must state there was a point where the protagonist is calling/screaming out names, and it sounded quiet for what the mood was supposed to be. It pulled me out so far that I had to reason with it. Maybe they couldn't be that loud at night because of, the people around them, like the actual out-of-movie people that lived around the area, which was kind of annoying, but I was able to pull myself back into the film and continue without it causing too much of an issue. Character development was really lacking in this film. The only thing that seemed to change throughout the movie was knowledge being gained. There were a couple of gross horror movie aspects, but they were really well done. Even one of the death scenes was well thought out, and the added atmosphere of blood gurgling as the last words were being spoken did not only add an element of realism, but it also added to the horror of the death. The protagonist was a little bit of an asshole, and I was actually amazed at the response from the other character. It made sense and added a touch of realism that brought me deeper into the immersion of the film. Background or interesting things about this film. This film was actually an adaptation of the book by the same name, written in 2004. This book was nominated for a Bram Stoker Award. Michael Lamimo, who wrote the book, was influenced by the 1973 made-for-TV film Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Mr. Lamio wrote a sequel to Deep in the Darkness entitled Return to the Darkness, which was released in 2011. Report card. Booze. I give it a 4. It was a good movie, had some great immersion, was easy to follow, but I don't think I will be adding it to my top lists of horror or rewatchables. Scary. This was definitely a suspenseful movie. In that regard, it gets a 6.5. Not completely skin-crawling, but it did give me food for thought. I really did enjoy the suspense aspect of this movie. It made me think what really hides in the minds of men, and how far folklore or legends can be taken, and why lore and legends are created. Script. 80%. A more than passable grade, however, I did knock my socks off, but I did like the script. The script was amazing, and I can totally see why the actors chose it. I was really impressed with it. The language that was used to fit the movie, there were some really good one-liners as well. Soundtrack. 80%. The soundtrack was actually really decent for this movie. It was silent in places that I would expect silence, and the music only added a sense of fear or foreboding as needed. Again, I didn't pull my socks off. There were a handful of times when I wish a different song had been played, or the timing had just been a little bit better. Cinematography. 65. There were some issues with the camera, and I really don't think it was just the version I was watching. Distillation happened 3 times. It was a little bit jump instead of scaring if that was the intended meaning. It just made me momentarily annoyed. You might enjoy this movie if you like folklore and strange humanoid creatures. Unfortunately, I don't have recommendations, as I did state that this is my first movie review. For the horror nerd in you, if you have one, I will include some of the specs here. So the runtime is an hour and 40 minutes or 100 minutes. For the TV movie special, which actually did run, it was an hour and 28 minutes, so 88 minutes. So there definitely is a huge difference in those two. So if you did watch the TV version, you should probably go back and make sure you watch the original version, because it might explain some things that weren't able to go into the television version. Of course, this movie was in color, and the aspect ratio was 16:9 for HD TV version and 2.35:1. It was filmed on an Alexia Anagursia lenses. I'll make sure that this stuff is in the description below, because as we've all known by now, I can't say the names of things, so I just butcher them. Sorry about that. Cinematic process spectral was 2K. Filming locations: Moodus Village, Connecticut, USA, and East Haddam, Connecticut, USA. Of course, the language spoken in this film was English, and it was released on the 29th of April 2014 in the United States. In a few months, I plan on making a countdown of the creepy videos in each category. Yes, this includes the reviewed horror films, so that we can have 100 best horror film thing. In order to do so, I need your help. If you like any of the stories, hit the like button to let me know. It will help me when I need to collect the data. If you like the videos and want to know when more are coming out, simply subscribe to the channel. I post new videos every day. If you thought this video was epic, share it with another like-minded horror fiend just like you. Also, if you have any ideas for horror movies, you can add those in the comments below as well. I know you can pick any YouTuber to watch, so I just want to thank you for picking one of my videos. Hope it didn't scare you to death.